This subdivision is Alexandra Estates, which is a proposal for 23 lots on about 116 acres between Missoula and Lolo. The density of this subdivision amounts to about 1 dwelling per 5 acres. If you take a look at the NRCS maps for this project, it is predominantly prime farmland as depicted. It's always optimal to maintain a resource intact if you can. In this case, obviously, this will be a fragmented resource following subdivision.
You can see the subdivision design on top of the farmland. And clearly, the farmland is not considered whatsoever here. There's no attempt to keep the vast majority of the prime farmland intact for a working farm or ranch. Farmland is precious. It's the foundation of our food system. It's what sustains working farms and ranches. And you don't get a second chance. You develop it and it's gone. And so the message is the same tonight, but the stakes are higher than they've been on any of the other subdivisions we've looked at. This is by far the most irresponsible use of some of the best farmland left in Missoula County.
I very early on realized the very, very strong connection that exists between the people who work the land and survivability itself. I've lived here long enough that I see it going the way in which it is no longer a productive resource, and yet it breaks my heart.
I've been living here in Missoula for a few years now, and I am a young farmer. I've been farming produce for about 6 years now. And I just want to say briefly, as a beginning farmer that doesn't have land right now, I really recognize the utmost importance and value in preserving what little farmland we have left.
And I think it's really important for us to think about growing in a way that our children can continue to enjoy our tradition of agriculture. And I love hobby farms, but I think Montana agricultural tradition is more than that, and I would hate to see Western Montana lose all of its opportunity for large farms and not just for hobby farming.
In my position, I have seen that there is so much in Montana and in this state, innovation and different groups that are trying to build up this system that we want to see be very resilient and be ours, and so we can actually feed ourselves. But how are the rest of us going to be successful if we don't have land to grow these crops on, especially within our local community here?
State law requires that a subdivision proposal be reviewed for its impacts to agriculture. Not only do local governments have the responsibility to look at and review the impacts to agriculture, but they actually have a responsibility to do something about that. You have an affirmative duty to protect agriculture.
If you can't mitigate the impacts to agriculture, then it needs to be denied. So this proposal is so far away from even coming close to mitigating the impacts to agriculture that it's time to go back to the drawing board for the developer to come forward with a proposal that keeps that best farmland intact.
I don't personally agree with the staff opinion that this land is particularly fragmented as prime land. And I also don't agree that even if there were some local importance lands that were mixed into prime farmland, that it would be less valuable as farmland. And we still need to protect all of our farmland resources, not just the 2% that are labeled as prime farmlands.
Looking at a subdivision like this, I think most of them won't be used as hobby farms. So I guess my question is, is it really truly going to mitigate for the loss of the agriculture? And how can it mitigate for loss, in this design, for the loss of a large chunk? It's not really mitigated for this loss of ag and also other natural resources, wildlife habitat, etc.
Even half-acre lots and 1-acre lots are not selling, and neither are the 5-acre. And what we should be developing is in town where the infrastructure is available. So the big picture I see is let's develop where the development makes sense. So I'm recommending denial.